Erev Tov to everyone, and it's always a great pleasure and honor to be together with everyone every week. We'll begin, as our custom is, we'll begin our shir with a miracle story, an amazing story from the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach. But it's a very important concept, and as we are in Elul, people realize, okay, the king is in the field, and the king allows us to go and to step up and to ask for anything that we want. But the main thing is that we have to ask. We have to remember that, yes, we have the opportunity, we have the ability, but we have to step up and ask. And how do we ask of the king? By davening, by praying. And in our davening, the Chachamim already, from the times of the men of the Great Assembly, Anshe Knesset Agdela, they've put in the liturgy 3 times a day. The seed of David, your servant, you should bring to its fruition speedily. For all day we have been waiting for your salvation. We have been not only waiting, but we have been in a state of hope and for your salvation. And this is the situation in every single field of life. Family matters, children, health, parnasa, livelihood, and first and foremost, the Geula, the redemption, the coming and the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach. Tonight's story, I seem to once, when I was going over the story, for some reason, it rang bells, and I was curious. Maybe I told this story already. Nevertheless, it's such a powerful story. I decided to choose this story tonight and to tell it. And if I'm telling it again, halavai, that it should penetrate and it should have an effect on us, on our Ramache Vorim, the Shasa Gidim, our 248 limbs, and our 365 sinews, that we should start doing what we have to do. And it's not only what we have to do, but what we want to do. And this is one of the many stories that we'll hear, how a person has to do what they really want to do, what they need to do according to Torah, obviously, not in any other negative direction other than the Torah direction. It's told about a couple, the way they are, the way that it's written is the Kuf couple. It doesn't say the family name, but the family name starts with Kuf. It's not me. It's not the K family, even though we also had our challenges in the first years of marriage until we had a child. But this particular family lives in Haifa, and the husband's name is Eliyahu, same as mine actually. But nevertheless, one morning he's going out, he's on his way out of the door with his talis and tefillin, because he wants to daven properly before he goes to work, and he hears from one of the rooms in the house, he hears his wife crying, but crying terribly. And he stops, he turns around, and he goes into the room, and he sees his wife's head between her legs, crying. And he walks over and asks her, "Tell me what happened? What's going on? You haven't left for work yet?" So she looks up with tears in her eyes and she says, "No, I took a day of vacation." He says, "Really? A day of vacation? What's the purpose of the vacation, if I may ask?" So she says, "I'll tell you. Today, one of the workers is returning from her vacation. There's like a 3-month vacation after a woman gives birth They're entitled to a 3-month vacation. This woman is coming back to the workplace after her birth vacation, and they're going to be raising a l'chaim in honor of the birth. And it's not that I'm against her. It's nothing personal. It's nothing. I have no ill feelings about this woman, but I just can't take it anymore. And the husband says, "Can't take what?" That we're coming and we're celebrating another birth, and I'm sitting there, and everyone walks up to me and says, "Don't worry, bekarov etzlachem, soon by you," and people are giving me wishes, and people are blessing me. I just don't want to hear about it anymore. I just can't take this type of life anymore. We've gone to so many doctors, and we've gone through so many treatments in order to go and to try to have a child, and everything that has been done has not been successful yet. What does Hashem want from us? And the husband is trying to calm his wife down, but deep down inside, he has to admit to himself that he has the same feelings, that they've been waiting for so long, married for so long, and he also has the same encounters with his friends and his relatives, and he's still waiting for children. Anyway, our friend Eliyahu, after he finished davening, he went to work. He worked in the Haifa Municipality Center. And in the municipality center, he came in, and people saw that that he was not in the best of spirits, and people saw that he arrived late. From all the people, there was one person that took it to heart. This was Rav Chaim Moshe. There's a person in the municipality center of Haifa. He's a Lubavitcher, and he's a honest to goodness living Chabad house. He doesn't work out of a Chabad house. He himself is a Chabad house. He is the Chabad house walking on 2 in the Haifa Municipality Center. Anyone that has a difficulty, a challenge, a problem in life, everyone knows the address. Everyone realizes that the address to turn to is Rav Chaim Moshe of the Municipality Center. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that Rav Chaim Moshe, when he saw Eliyahu in such a predicament, in such a down spirit, so he decided to go into speak with him. He speaks with Eliyahu, and he says, "Listen, I see that everything is not in the best of moods and spirits. Maybe you want to share what's going on with me." And when Chaim Moshe goes and speaks to someone, it's very difficult to stay close. He has the heart opener for every single person's heart. And it's the same here with Eliyahu. Eliyahu finally, he opened up to Chaim Moshe, and he told him what's going on at home. And he's going, and in general, with the situation of not being married so long and not having children yet. And Chaim Moshe is listening. And then after he heard the whole story, Chaim Moshe looks at Eliyahu and he says, "Listen, have you tried to write the Lubavitcher Rebbe for a blessing?" And Eliyahu looks at him in the most strangest of stares, and he said, Halavai, I could write the Rebbe for a blessing." But so Rav Chaim Moshe says, "What's the problem? You can write the Rebbe. You can write the Rebbe right now." And Eliyahu looks at him and says, "What are you talking about? But the Rebbe he's not with us anymore. The Rebbe is, as far as our eyes of flesh and blood can see, he's gone." So the shliach over there in the Iriyah, Chaim Moshe starts saying to Eliyahu, Chas v'sholom, and he begins to explain to him that it's still possible to go. That first of all, the Rebbe is still with us, and second of all, we have the ability that accommodates us and gives us the opportunity to turn to the Rebbe and to ask the Rebbe for his blessings in any realm of and in any field of life. And he explained to him about the Igros Kodesh of the Rebbe, the some few tens of volumes, over 30 volumes of letters that were collected from the Rebbe, the letters that the Rebbe sent to other people. And Eliyahu is listening, and he has a lot of respect for Chaim Moshe, but he just it doesn't speak to him. And he looks at Chaim Moshe with very compassionate eyes, and he says, "Listen, I understand where you're coming from and how you feel, but I just don't feel the same. And therefore, I don't feel that I can write the Rebbe today as you describe it." Chaim Moshe, our dear friend, the living Chabad house in the area of Haifa, he didn't know how to receive the no from a fellow Jew. Not only did he not understand how to receive the word no, but as it's especially in such situations where he felt that there's no question in his mind, a bracha from the Rebbe can help this couple and bring them happiness and joy, bring them salvation. So every day he would walk over to Eliyahu when he would come to arrive to work, and he would speak to him and tell him, "Listen, maybe nevertheless, you'll write to the Rebbe, And Eliyahu said, "Listen, I have a lot of respect for you, but I don't think so. It's not my cup of tea. This type of behavior." And every day he would come to him, and finally he says to him, "Listen, what do you have to lose by writing the Rebbe? Worst comes to worst, you put words on a blank piece of paper, and whatever happens, happens." So Eliyahu, due to the nagging and the respect that he had for Chaim Moshe, he agreed. So immediately Chaim Moshe took Eliyahu by the hand, and he took him to the Chabad house in the Hadar quarter in Haifa. I actually have relatives running the Chabad house in the Hadar quarter, and they went into the Chabad house. Chaim Moshe instructed Eliyahu to wash his hands 6 times, and to put tzedakah, and to sit down and to write a letter to the Rebbe. Eliyahu didn't save any words as far as describing in the letter to the Rebbe the situation. And at the end, he also wrote to the Rebbe the following. He wrote that if they will have a child, so he promises a very large donation to the Chabad house as well. Okay? I mean, he's a mensch. He doesn't believe in what he's doing, but nevertheless, if he's already doing it, so he also said that he'll give tzedakah, he'll give a donation to the Chabad house. Wonderful. So Chaim Moshe instructs him to say the proclamation of Yechi Adonenu, the blessing that we give the Rebbe, Yechi Adonenu Moreinu v'Rabbeinu Melech Ha'Moshiach Le'olam V'ed 3 times, and then he tells him, okay, take a volume of the Igros Kodesh, many volumes on the shelf, and put your letter amongst the pages of the volume that you choose. Thus being done, They together open up the volume, and Eliyahu starts reading. And as he's reading, he starts shaking. Not only shaking, but he's letting out oohs and ahs, and wow, this is just impossible. How can this be? It's just not real. And he, after he finished reading, he shows his friend Chaim Moshe the letter that he received from the Rebbe. The letter that they received, it was in volume 5 of the Igros Kodesh, the Hebrew Igros Kodesh of the Rebbe, and it was on page 1353. And I want to read at least the blurb. I mean, the few lines that were relevant, that they found relevant from the Igros Kodesh. We'll read it in Hebrew and we'll translate it, because I feel that this is something very, very extraordinary, as all the answers, that the replies that the Rebbe gives. The Rebbe writes as follows. The Rebbe writes, Kibalti michtovei pidyon nefesh be'ad bitei v'chasanei. I received the letter with the redeeming of the soul for his daughter and his son-in-law. Lihipaked bezara shel kayama, to receive a blessing and to have a child that will be healthy and well. And when I will be by the resting place, Hakodesh, the holy resting place, Shel Kvod Kedushas Mori V'Chami Admor, of my holy holy and revered father-in-law, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. Ekra'ehu, I will read their letter, this person's letter, by the previous Rebbe's resting place. And then, if that wasn't enough to be totally accurate in regard to what was being written for, the blessing that was being written for, and the blessing that the Rebbe gives, the Rebbe continues, and he related to the promise of the donation that Eliyahu mentioned in turn of the blessing. And the Rebbe writes as follows: Kesev b'siyum michtovei, and this person, writes at the end of his letter, Va'ani afazer im yirtza Hashem harbe kesef, and I will give abundantly a great amount of money avur yeshivas tomchei tmimim de Lubavitch kishli yifkadenu, for the yeshivas of Tomchei Tmimim Lubavitch, when Hashem blesses his daughter and son-in-law with a child. And by Hashgacha Pratis, this story is connected with this week, as we wrote also in the communique, that this coming Thursday night, Friday, the 15th of Elul, is the day of the founding of the yeshiva Tomchei Tmimim Lubavitch. Okay. What does the Rebbe continue to say? The Rebbe says, Hine lo yashar be'inai kosvei zeh. Behold, it is not appropriate in my eyes this which he writes in his letter. Why? Ki lama lo liikones betnoim im HaKadosh Baruch Hu. For why does he need to go into conditions with the holy ones, blessed be he? And the Rebbe explains. The Rebbe explains that it's true that we find in the Talmud there is related stories, for instance, to an individual that gave a donation of money to charity, to tzedakah, for the refuah, for the healing of his son. The son was not well, and he initially gave charity in order for Hashem to bless his son and to be healthy, to have a refuah shlema. And also this person it has the description of a complete righteous person. Avol, but ein b'chach hatzdoko lihasnoyas hatruma bihismamshusa shel habracha. But there is no justification if a person will go and make the condition of the charity, of the donation that he's going to give, if and when the blessing comes to fruition. You go and you give charity, and you say to Hashem that this charity I'm giving in order for Hashem to go and to give him the refuah shlema. That's one thing. But you're going and you're making conditions with Hashem. Hashem, you do your thing. Bless the children bless the daughter and the son-in-law with a child, and then when you finally pull through, then I'll also give a charity. No, that's not how it works. We don't make conditions to the Eibishter. And the Rebbe ends off and says, Yesh lismach al beire ha'olam. There is a need to rely on the creator of the universe. Kosav Rebbe ki hu haneman betachlis v'chol yochol. For Hashem is the one that is that is totally trusted, and he is the Almighty. So, go and give the donation, and then Hashem, you have to trust Hashem, and he'll do what he has to do. At the end of the letter, the Rebbe also looked into, inquired in regard to the study sessions that this person has in regard to studying Hasidic philosophy and Torah in general, and then if he's participating in these kind of classes, and then the Rebbe wrote also that he should be scrupulous in regard to the recitation of the chapters of Tehillim on the daily basis. In other words, the days of the month. If we're already mentioning this, it's important also to remind ourselves that there is the custom from the time of the Baal Shem Tov that made the enactment that every day of the month of Elul until Yom Kippur, including Yom Kippur, but every day of the month of Elul to recite 3 chapters, additional chapters of Tehillim. And it's beginning with from the beginning of the Sefer Tehillim, the first day of Elul, the 3 chapters, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, and so on. But this is what the Rebbe answers the Eliyahu, the worker at the municipality center in Haifa. Eliyahu wasn't able to stop himself, and he started to just cry and cry and cry, because he realized that all this time he had the opportunity to go and to ask from the king, to ask the Rebbe for a blessing, and he felt that he wasn't able to because of the circumstances. And here, not only does he see that he's able to, but it was proven in front of his eyes that the Rebbe goes and he's giving answers, direct and accurate answers to every single thing that we ask, and every blessing that we ask of the Rebbe. He answers in such a direct manner, in such an accurate manner. Chaim Moshe, his Eliyahu's friend, also was very excited, to say the least. But when Eliyahu calmed down, so he immediately took out his wallet, and he took out from his wallet a very large sum of money, and he said to Chaim Moshe, give this to the Chabad house for the activities of the Chabad house. It's a donation that I'm giving, no questions asked, no conditions made. And then he also saw to it to purchase a large Tehillim, a large book of Psalms, so that he'd be able to go and more easily, because the letters are large, he would be able to more easily recite the daily or the day of the month, the chapters of Tehillim for each day of the month on a regular basis. Rabbi Say. They both went home. 9 months exactly to date passed, and there was a child born, a ben bechor, a firstborn male boy was born to Eliyahu and his wife. The child was named Matan. Matan. Why Matan? Because it was a matana. It was a godly present they felt that Hashem gave them, that there's no greater present that they could even think of more than the present that Hashem gave them. And this is the present that Hashem gave them through the blessing of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach. So the king is in the field, yeah. And we have the opportunity to walk straight up to the king and to ask him anything and everything that we need and that we want for the good. But we have to ask. We have to ask. We have to ask in our davening, and we have to know and realize that the Rebbe is here for us, and that we should write a letter to the Rebbe and ask the Rebbe for those things that are so important to us, and that we need, that we're asking Hashem to provide us. And through the bracha of the Rebbe and the inspiration that the Rebbe has to give to the blessing of Hashem, we will finally merit not only those personal things that we're looking for, that we need so much, but also the general thing that we've been waiting, as we said at the beginning of almost 2,000 years. We're waiting for the revelation of the Geula, the revelation of the true and complete redemption on a good and revealed basis, in a manner of happiness and joy of the heart, in a manner of peace and tranquility. And it should be teichef umiyad, mamish, 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 immediately now. Yichi Adonenu, Moreinu v'Rabbeinu, HaMelech HaMoshiach, le'olam voed. Amen.